Hello and welcome to Sarah's Shed, and in this episode we'll make not one but two perfectly imperfect garden beds by weaving willow harvested from my local creek where it is an environmental weed. Yep, from nasty weed to something useful, but not before I'd learnt a few tough lessons about harvesting willow. So the story starts on a beautiful autumn day, and I drove down to the creek with my brand spanking new electric pruning shears ready to cut willow poles. I've watched heaps of videos of traditional willow weaving from the UK, had done some weaving experiments at home with fruit tree and grapevine prunings, so I felt ready to take this next step of harvesting my own willow. I thought pruning some willow with my electric pruners would be light duties rather than full-on dirty garden work, so I stupidly wore a favourite shirt, a decision I would soon regret. But for now, I was oblivious to the danger of shirt destruction and happy to be out and about on a gorgeous day at a gorgeous creek. It started well enough. The creek was low and I got over to the big patch of willow and got stuck into cutting the poles, starting from the outside and kind of working my way in. The new electric pruning shears worked like a charm, taking pressure off my niggling right elbow. There were poles of different thicknesses. I cut a lot about as thick as my thumb or a bit thicker at the base, getting narrower towards the top. But there were a tantalising number of really long and fat poles which I decided to have a go at, and this saw me climbing right into the middle of the beast and cutting, pushing, snapping and pulling the big ones out. A whole body workout in the thick of things. And did I mention it was covered with bees, and there was a sweet smell I couldn't quite put my finger on, and I assumed a whole lot of flowers maybe up high that the bees were feeding on, but I couldn't see them. And it was at this time that I noticed that most of the willow poles were crawling with thick clusters of some kind of black aphid creepy crawlies, which I had rubbed up against with horrific results. I had big purpley black smears of squished insect goo on me, my shirt, gloves, everything. And may I say, this never happened in all the UK willow harvesting YouTubes I watched. Now, I know that there is some really cool symbiotic relationship between aphids and ants who farm the nectar aphids produce, sucking the goodness out of your roses, but I just didn't know if bees and aphids had a similar relationship, and I was wondering, is there a whole incredible little micro ecosystem going on down here in this stand of willow? But hang on, for God's sake, Sarah, that rabbit hole will have to wait, because did I mention I ruined my favourite shirt and my gloves were all stained with the goo of hundreds of bugs too, and I hadn't even finished the job at hand. So by then I was committed. So I just kept on till the job was done, and I tied the bundles of willow together, loaded them into my fantastic huge ute, and leaving the mystery of bug ecosystem behind me, I took the willow home. Over the following week, I would strip the outer leaves from the willow to prepare them for weaving, while having pretty funny flashback memories of primary school in Australia in the 1970s, where we were taught maypole dancing and some kind of folk bush dance move called Strip the Willow, which frankly at the time made absolutely no sense. But with a jolt of laughter, the aha moment arrived as I stripped the willow about 50 years later. Then finally the moment had arrived where I could take my bundles of stripped willow and begin weaving the sides of my garden beds to complete the job I started last year from my own fruit tree prunings, which also are flexible enough to weave when green. But first I needed to check the stakes I put in a year ago. Some were wobbly, some were unstable and needed replacing, and then the weaving could begin. This time I came with pretty decent lengths of willow. But there was no getting away from the fact that I was building on last year's pretty uneven efforts, where I had not always stuck to the over, under, over rule of weaving. Sometimes doing a bit of over and under to avoid snapping a thick, rigid section, and sometimes improvising with a bit of tying the skinny ends around and around to stop the ends popping out. But eventually I found a bit of a weaving rhythm. The sides grew up a bit higher. It was holding together too, and I did like the organic look of it, even if it wasn't always neat. Well, I've made a good start on the additional weaving in of the willow. I started it with prunings from fruit trees last year, as I said, and now I ran out of prunings, and so found a source of local willow, which is, you know, traditionally absolutely the best thing for weaving. And yeah, there's just still, I see videos from Ireland and Scotland where, you know, Wales traditionally where willow is cut, and I've watched quite a bit of that. It's beautiful and amazing, but gee, they just really hide how much of a skill is there, or maybe they don't realise how much skill they've had. They've been doing it for so many years, but cutting the right lengths, I'm really noticing how, I mean, this is free material, great, it's wood I've harvested, and I'm excited about that, particularly because it's a weed, so win-win, remove a weed and get a free building material. But just like any building materials, if you haven't got the right quality, the thickness, the length, you have troubles. And definitely, I noticed in the first weaving experiments, short pieces are a real problem. A real pain in the bum because there's not enough of it. You have to make too many joins, so long pieces is absolutely gold. And I'm noticing as I'm trying to do the corners, you need really long bits to get those in. And I think, you know, my first effort wasn't brilliant, so I wasn't, you know, it's kind of gappy. So now I'm coming in later, a year later, with new materials and trying to mix it in with the old, sort of plug the gaps. Look, it's a little bit freeform. It's definitely not perfect. I'm sort of happy it's holding together. I'm definitely making notes about what I would do differently last time, and I will summarize that right at the end. But, you know, in the spirit of learning it as I'm going, and I suppose I am someone who likes to learn a little bit by trial and error. I like to have a go. You can only research so much, and then your head is full and you feel like overwhelmed and you've got to have a go. So all good, but definitely I shouldn't be, but I'm constantly amazed at how any new material, there's just so much skill in every part of it. So yeah, I'm definitely at the beginning of my weaving with what I can find locally journey. I'm feeling successful enough to keep going, but definitely will need to take stock and make a few notes to make my life easier next time. Not only the quality of the materials, but the quantity. Wow, I thought I'd cut a lot, but I reckon just sitting here going, how much more am I going to need? It consumes a lot, and I'm only trying to fill, you know, it's what seems like a small edge, but there's a lot of length. So anyway, I've had a drink of water and I'll keep going. One cold, grey and drizzly afternoon, I went out and finished weaving the first garden bed. It turned out really well. I ended up having enough of the regular size willow to build the sides up to a good height, and although it was a lot of work, I really liked the curved woven corners. For now, the new section is green, but with time it will go brown with age and match the original sections. I actually had a whole lot of thicker poles left over too. I hadn't been able to use them as they weren't nearly as flexible, so I put them aside for a while.
Well, hi shedders. I've just dashed in from outside and finished weaving the willow as the rain shower started to come down again. Another imperfectly perfect result for weaving an edge out of willow. It definitely looks like the work experience kid on the job, but I don't care. I'm sure the professionals who have these beautiful videos on Weavecraft, they must have had to have started somewhere. And I'm sure they've somewhere in their past got a wacky woven edge like mine. But I reckon it's going to last a few years, and I've really enjoyed making it. Harvesting the willow, yeah, okay, I'll be better prepared next time, but actually in the end what I harvested did increase the size sort of by double the height of the edge.
And you'd be forgiven for thinking that this is where the story ended, but no. A few weeks later, with the addition of some recycled old wooden slabs, I decided to make a second garden bed. I cut some hardwood stakes to sharp points and screwed them on to the back of the slabs.
All right, it's towards the end of the day. I finished work a while ago and the weather's still pretty mild, pretty still. And so in this last hour or so of light, I'm coming out with my bucket of wooden stakes I prepared the other day. Made me feel like I was out chasing vampires with these. Red gum branches that I've cut to sharp points of different sizes. So I've got 24 stakes, 12 for each side, and then I've got the two pre-made straight wooden ends for the short. So I'm going to weave the last of the willow that I had left over. I actually had big thick stuff left over. I wasn't too sure what to do with, and I've decided to just see if I can start a second bed using the big thick willow poles down the side, not too bendy, just a little bit. That's why I've got these to weave them between. I've got a mallet to bang them in, and I've got the two short ends. Let's see if I can get this done in the next hour, or if it'll be a bit today and a little bit over the next few days. Let's have a go.
As the light faded, I worked on the last long side to complete the second bed. You can see the first bed looking pretty good behind me, holding the last of the season's Roma tomatoes. And in the spirit of using what I had available, this bonus second bed was a hybrid design with short straight ends, and I decided to weave the thick poles for the long sides, but I would have to make the stakes much farther apart so the poles didn't need to curve too much. And sometimes I needed to double up on the stakes to hold them from springing out. They had a lot of force behind them and almost lifted one of my wooden slab ends out of the ground. On the second long side, I had to compromise on the weaving and just let some of the poles be mostly straight, and added extra stakes in the middle to cover the joins and stop them from springing out too. But eventually, a second perfectly imperfect garden bed was complete, and I was grateful to be heading back to the house as the light faded completely. And for more stories about a woman in her 50s getting on the tools, creating new things out of old, recycled and locally available materials, I hope to see you in Sarah's shed.